Hi there, everyone. My name is Christian Eschbach, and welcome to another one of my album reviews. This is 349. This is the last one I'm going to be doing in this basic kind of format. Got a new format starting up in the next review. But I wanted to end off with a bit of a bang here. I did this with Alice Cooper, where I did like all the Alice Cooper collections, greatest hits, etc. I've got, compared them all together. Even a couple I don't have, I compared in there. And I wanted to do the same thing kind of with Jimi Hendrix here. So I've got two in my hand here. We've got Smash Hits, and then we've got Experience Hendrix. One was released in 1969, I believe it was. Yes, 1969. This one was released in 1997. Not digitally remastered. The sound quality is the exact same on both of them. I compared them very diligently. I did not notice any sound difference on the two. Now, the difference between the two. This goes up to 1969, but does not include albums released in 1969. What this includes is Jimi Hendrix's singles and one album, the Are You Experienced album. Now, you might be wondering, say what? Okay. Back prior to the 70s, singles were a huge thing, especially coming out of England and Europe in general. Singles were a lot bigger than albums were. Albums are more of a North American thing. And even still, though, that became a thing even in North America around the mid 60s, maybe a little bit earlier than that. Albums were like full albums were never huge things. So when this got put together, they needed a way to get all the singles together into one collection. This gave you all the singles together in one collection, plus tracks off of the Are You Experienced album, which is why there is such a huge difference in track listings between the two. Now, there are two songs on this one that are not on this one, so I'm going to talk about this one first. The first two songs that are not included on the second album that are exclusive just to this one are Can You See Me and Remember. I'm also doing these tracks completely out of order because the way I'm going to compare these. Can You See Me? I didn't know this one prior to listening to this album for doing the review, to be completely honest with you. I was surprised in part for two different reasons. The first reason is this is honestly just a bit of a really cool track. I'm surprised I've really honestly never heard it prior to listening to this. It's a bit erratic and yet has a very danceable kind of groove to it. However, to me, this is more of an album cut and less of a smash or a single or a hit or anything like that. However, it is the type of song I could see clubs back in the late 60s playing, because it is danceable. And it's got something different to it, It's a good tune. Then you get to Remember. This one sounds way too Beatles for me. Not Hendrix covering the Beatles, but the Beatles with Hendrix on vocals. And it also feels weirdly longer than it is. The song's only around 2 minutes, 45 seconds, and I honestly thought it was like 5 minutes long. Till I went and checked on the time marker. I had to check to verify. It really just kind of, not that a bad long per se, it's just the way the song moves and the tempo and everything like that related to it. It just kind of feels longer. After that, we get into songs that are shared between the two albums, all right? A lot of these everybody knows because they're the big smash hits kind of thing, right? You got Purple Haze. There are three songs that everybody really honestly should know from Jimi Hendrix. 95 pop, my guesstimates, 95% of the population knows three of these, three Hendrix songs, no ifs, ands, or buts. Purple Haze is one of them. Absolutely, without a doubt, Purple Haze is one of the songs. It's probably, if you don't know Purple Haze, Either your parents failed you or your grandparents failed you, depending on what your age is in relation to those people. My kids, I would take the blame, saying that I failed them if they didn't know, but my dad could take the blame on that one too. Then we get into Fire. Oddly though, my dad was never actually a Hendrix fan. I'm more into Hendrix than my dad was. Fire follows that up. That is also the next song that everybody should know, really, pretty much. And this one, I feel, in the more modern contemporary field, that this one should be even known even more and even better, because this one was in Wayne's World. It was a huge thing in Wayne's World with Tia Carrere doing a cover of it. And I've actually discussed that cover before because I believe it was actually possibly done with Alice Cooper's band and is on the Alice Cooper Classics album, which I talked about in my review for that. Coming full circle around to talking about collections. All right, it always comes back to Alice with me. But yes, those two songs everybody should know. The third song I mentioned is a little bit down the list. Next after that is The Wind Cries Mary. This one slows it down nicely, especially within this mix. I'm not personally into the track. It's still a fantastic song. With the three songs that go, each song definitely has its own distinct personality, which is really kind of cool. You really get to get a different vibe and flavor off the first. Because the first three songs here would literally, on both of these collections, are Purple Haze, Fire, Wind Cries Mary. Even the fourth song is literally the same on both of them. Actually, I think they're the same. They're the same all the way up until song number 6. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Great flow, great vibe going on there and whatnot. The thing that's cool is, Purple Haze, you get that wild and crunchy kind of vibe going on with the guitar. Fire, you got precision and speed. Wind Cries Mary, very kind of loose and chill. So, it's really kind of nice and unique and different that way. Hey Joe. I do not advocate violence in relationships. If the bitch is cheating, you toss her trash ass out where it belongs on the streets. However, we are talking about a different time period, and a man getting divorced is really actually kind of a lot more difficult than it is for a woman, and a lot more complicated than it is for a woman. So either way, this is a damn good song, but the content is not necessarily appropriate for this day and age. I used to love singing this one on karaoke. For the longest time, this was actually one of my go-to favorites for doing on karaoke. Great song. It really is. Really great song. After that, we hit All Along the Watchtower. Toss up between this one or another song I'll get to later on as to which is my favorite Hendrix song. This one gives the other one a good run because I have more personal with this one. I've actually recorded a cover of this myself. Oddly enough, though, my cover is based a little more off the Dylan version, as it's based more off the rhythm section, as I basically play drums and bass only on it, no guitar whatsoever. That's why I call it my rhythm section revenge. I recorded on a really crappy camera back when 720p was actually considered high quality, and this camera was not 720p. It is out there on YouTube if you go looking for it. I absolutely love this song, though. The Dylan version's cool. The Hendrix version just obviously blows it out of the water thanks to all that guitar work. To the point where Dylan even started playing it more Hendrix-like and less like his original version. Go figure. Stone Free. This one always surprises me to see it on a best of compilation. I mean, it's a really good, solid album cut to me. But to me, it's just not like a single or a greatest hits or anything like that. It's an okay tune. Crosstown Traffic. Hendrix has this great way of making erratic songs sound really danceable. This is the second one in the smash hits that does it. Um, and between this one or Can You See Me, I pretty much feel the exact same way about both of them. But to me, both songs are basically kind of on par with each other. They both have that erraticness to the way that they're played, and they both have that danceability to them. Almost kind of interswappable. Not really, but kind of. Manic Depression. I like the song. Music suits it very well. Maybe a little too well for your basic listener. Most people I know, when they hear Manic Depression, really don't like it, especially women. Not entirely, but most women I've known really just don't dig the song. I can't figure that one out, but good tune. Red House. It's got a cool blues groove to it, but it's another one of those songs where I would say great album cut, not a best of or a greatest hits or a single or anything like that. And then this album ends with Foxy Lady. Three songs I mentioned at the beginning, everybody would know. Purple Haze, Fire, Foxy Lady is the third. What a shocker. Okay, so if you don't know Foxy Lady, just go look it up. You really should know this one. Yet again, going back to Wayne's World, this one briefly appears in Wayne's World. This one appears everywhere, right? So Foxy Lady, like I was saying, is one of those songs everybody should know. It's where Smash ends, and it's where we're gonna pick up here with Experience Hendrix. Now, there are a couple songs that actually show up in between Manic Depression and Foxy Lady. Red House is not one of them. Red House is actually further down the line on this album. But in between Manic Depression and Foxy Lady, we have Little Wing and If 6 Was 9. Little Wing reminds me a way super ton of The Wind Cries Mary, basically. And to me, it sounds way too much like The Wind Cries Mary to put them both on the same collection. It works because of how far apart they are, and if given a choice between the two of them, I'm going with Little Wing over The Wind Cries Mary. But either way, just kind of feel really like the same song to me. If 6 Was 9, I love the breathing by the drums in the spaces in between the lyrics on the verses, at least for the first few sets of verses. That is just great. And then in the second verse, you get the bass kind of creeping in on those little gaps. It just works really good. And then it just progresses and moves everywhere after that. I mean, there's songs all over the place after this. And it really shows the brilliance behind Hendrix as both a poet and a musician. Hendrix often gets overlooked as a poet because his more popular songs are just kind of more on your generic lyric verse, or, verse chorus kind of vibe or whatnot, standard lyrics kind of thing. This one really, really showcases what Hendrix can do and how out there he can get. And of all the songs in the catalog, I really do feel like this one really is understated. And at this point, I would go into a diatribe about how this song should have been on Smash, except for I've already explained that Are You Experienced is the only full album that was covered under Smash, and all the singles that were released prior to that, If 6 Was 9, comes from the album afterwards. Okay. Then we get into Bold as Love. This is one of those songs that everyone, I think, knows. I know it. Like, most people I know it. And when you hear it, it's like, oh, this is a great killer groove. Nobody knows the name of the song. In all the years I have had this album, and I mean, I've had this album for like 20 or more years now. In all the years I have had this album, and all the years I've enjoyed listening to this album, I have never once, until I've gone to do this review, realized that this song is called Bold as Love. It's like the only song on the album whose name I honestly didn't know. And I don't know why. Actually, I know one of the reasons why, and it's because for the longest time with my computer, when I loaded it up on my computer, it didn't pop the songs up in the right order or the track listing and whatnot. So I had to go through and manually fix everything at one point. And, just a pain in the ass. Anyways, moving on to the next song. But anyways, Bold as Love. Definitely another vastly underrepresented song. Really good song. One of those songs that everybody should know. And I should have known the name of it all these years and I didn't. Then we get Castles Made of Sand. This is one of those songs I've just never particularly cared for. I don't have a good reason. It's a good song. It just doesn't do anything for me. And once again, it showcases that Hendrix is a great poet. It's just not my kind of song. All right. I mentioned earlier that All Along the Watchtower was probably tied with another song as my favorite Hendrix song, or I couldn't make up my mind over what my other favorite Hendrix song was. We've now gotten to that point where I get to discuss it. We are talking about Voodoo Child, Slight Return. This is by far the most badass motherfucking song that James Marshall Hendrix ever dropped on God's green fucking earth, man. I mean, first off, solo number 1. Secondly, solo number 2. After that, we're just talking about dropping the boot and showing everyone who the big dog is when it comes to the lyrics and the performance of the lyrics, man. I mean, we are just talking Jimi Hendrix letting the world know he is the baddest motherfucker going at that time. God, I love acid rock. Shit, I love acid rock. All right, moving on. And acid rock, folks, acid rock would be what heavy metal was before heavy metal was heavy metal. That's the best way to put it. All right. Freedom, great boogie track, but to me this is kind of like a mellow version of Crosstown Traffic. A bit of an album cut, but good tune. Nightbird Flying, this one, okay. This one's a little honky-tonk country Nashville-y sounding for me. I don't mind it, and I can definitely see how this would definitely have inspired some country-ass rockers like, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Some of the guys, even going down Texas-wise, you get ZZ Top and stuff like that. There's just that country-esque kind of honky-tonk sound. I always refer to it as a Nashville kind of sound. That's what it reminds me of in this case. Maybe, Hendrix hanging out a little too much with Bob Dylan or something. I don't know. Okay, moving on. Angel. Everyone that I know usually says that Kiss's Beth was the first power ballad or arena power ballad or whatever. I will argue that Angel was. You just listen to it, man. It was meant to be played in a big open arena to let the natural reverb just kind of take over and echo in through everybody. Is one of those songs. Probably would be the very last song I would have put on this collection. I understand why it's here. It's definitely not a song I go out of my way to listen to ever. Dolly Dagger. Oh, this is a great album cut, man. I really love this one. I put this one into mixes on a pretty regular basis. I really, really dig. Excuse me. I really, really dig it. But I don't know if I would call it a greatest hit per se. As much as I feel it is, it really feels like it should just be like a really heavy album cut. Like nothing overly special from Hendrix, just a great, great album cut. And then this finishes off with the Star Spangled Banner. And I'm going to be completely honest. I have always thought that Hendrix's version, or most guitarists when they play the Star Spangled Banner, is just a way for them to masturbate, make some noise. This version, any version really, but this version of it really just doesn't do anything for me. No matter what anybody tries to claim, I just don't think it's all that impressive or all that spectacular. I think Hendrix has definitely done way better guitar solos and stuff like that. I think if this solo, if the Star Spangled Banner didn't have the magic and majesty of the Woodstock history behind it, I don't think it would be what it is. That's just my point of view anyways, folks, so out of these two albums, no, this one by far is the superior album. By far the superior album. The two other songs on here are not worth buying, just this. I don't think. I mean, Can You See Me and what was it? Can You See Me and Remember? Let me see really fast here if I can find the details here. Yeah, here we go. Here's the details real fast. Can You See Me is off of Are You Experienced? And what's the other one here? Remember is also off of Are You Experienced? Remember is specifically off the UK version of Are You Experienced? And it's really interesting because there are two different versions of Smash as well. There's a UK version and a US version. This is the US version. The UK version has different tracks on it. The UK version has 51st Anniversary on it, which was a UK B-side. And it also has The Stars That Play with Laughing Sam's Dice, which was a UK B-side. I've never heard that one. I gotta check that one out. Highway Child, which was also a UK B-side. So, realistically, if you could find the UK version of this, the UK version of this could partner nicely with this. Otherwise, Are You Experienced? All right, folks, I'm done. That's it. I'm done. Let me know what you think. Leave me your thoughts in the comments. Other than Are You Experienced, what Hendrix album should I maybe look into picking up, reviewing next? That's what the comment section's for. Let me know. Hit the like button, the subscribe button, the little bell for notifications. There's a link that goes to Patreon below. I've actually been retooling my Patreon site, so you should check that out. I have some cool and exciting things coming. And starting with my next episode, 350 of the reviews, I've got a new format coming out. All right, folks, until next time, peace, love, take care.